guys. It's 3 o'clock. Here I am on Instagram Live. So I know that it was short notice, but all of us girls from the cast of For All Mankind posted on Friday that we were going to be doing little interviews today, hosted on my page. So it's going to be fun. I get to interview all of the girls from the show whom I admire and are constantly inspired by. They are ridiculously talented. And even more than that, they're awesome people. I won't have to sit on Instagram Live and stare at myself. So that's really exciting. I thought about coming in with some sweet dance moves, and then I opted to not because I realized it's just probably going to embarrass myself. So, hello everybody. Hi. Yeah, I'm really excited because For All Mankind for me has been one of my favorite projects I've ever worked on. If you haven't seen it, it's on Apple TV, on their platform. There's the first season, 10 episodes out. We were in the middle of filming season 2. And then got shut down almost to the end. We're in the middle of filming 9 and 10. So I know we're all looking forward to resuming as a cast and finishing. Krys is on here and she said she was told there would be dancing. Krys, I can't have a dance party without you. I can't. Solo dance parties are sad. But yes, so if you haven't seen it, there might be some spoilers today, and you may want to tune out because we don't want to have to be careful. But if you just want to see their gorgeous faces and tune in every now and then, that's great. Some of you have asked questions and submitted them. I have them on my sweet cheat sheets of questions to ask. So thank you for submitting them. Yeah, we're a really tight-knit cast, and especially us girls. And I just think that it's wonderful that we get a chance to talk about what we love doing in a show that we adore. So, hello. I love you too. It's very sweet of you guys. Yes, I used the word fancy. Oh, it's midnight in France. Sorry, we're going to keep you up late. It's fine. Wrenn, I love you. By the way, I look like business on top and like I'm going to the beach in ripped shorts on the bottom. And my hair's still wet from jumping in the pool. So there's that. Okay, so I'm going to ask Sarah to join me first, and then Jodi, then we have Wrenn, then we have Krys, and we will finish off with a beautiful Sonya. Not that they all aren't gorgeous. Hi, Nicole! One of my best friends is watching. Hi, babe. I miss you. I love you. I only get to see her over FaceTime. So let me see if I can figure out how to get Sarah to join us. Bug. I see you, Sarah. Get ready. Get ready, girl. Let's see if this worked. Wait for it. It's connected. Hi!
Hello.
Do I have to turn it? Are you in landscape or am I?
I don't know how this works. I thought you're supposed to turn the phone horizontal, and I can turn it back.
Go. Yeah, vertical.
Do I turn it? Okay, vertical?
Yeah.
All right, let's see how that works.
Hi.
Hello. How's it going?
Oh, yeah, it's going. By the way, world, all of us have a group chat. For like maybe just a teensy bit nervous for this kind of way of interviewing each other. So, by the way, how long is your hair?
The longest it's been since I was 13.
I mean, we've seen each other at a distance.
Sorry, everyone.
In like a top knot.
Yeah.
I feel like all of us are going to finish and our hair is going to be down to our butt. We can't, by the way, we can't touch our hair or do anything because we still have to finish 9 and 10. 9 and 10, so they're gonna have to do quite a number with coloring and cutting our hair.
I think we have like 2 more weeks too of shooting. It's not even
I think I have like 4 days total of the whole shooting.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I have standing notes over here.
All right.
So I'm going to ask you, first of all, what your favorite scene was to shoot in the first season. No spoilers for a second.
Well, that's not going to happen.
By the way,
sorry, y'all.
I was like, oh yeah, no, that was something from this season. Yep, nope, can't say that.
No, my favorite scene of season 1 was actually with my eldest son, Danny, played by the lovely Mason Thames. Also, I just realized I've never called him by his last name. So if I just butchered your last name, I'm really sorry. But there was a scene after, or it's right before Tracy goes on her mission, and after Shane's death. And for me, it was my favorite thing to shoot, because I felt like that actually was the scene that defined everything about Tracy's journey in the first season, which was finding the balance between taking care of herself and following her ambitions, while also continuing to be the fierce and loving mother that she is and loves to be. And since Tracy was the only working mom in the first season, I thought I don't know, it was just really important. And Mason is so talented and lovely. It was easy, but it was so sweet. I really appreciated doing that scene. So.
Well, I also think it was a scene that sometimes we feel in our guts, we want to fight for certain things. And I remember that you fought for it. And it was such an impactful moment. And I think sometimes when the writers have so many characters to remember and weave, there are moments that stick out for us. And you being a working mom who's incredible, and I always commend you for that, you find such a wonderful balance. And I think that you being able to tell that story was authentic and important.
Thank you. Well, like I said, I had a wonderful scene partner. So thank you, Mason, if you're watching. So that was my favorite scene.
Okay, so there's somebody named Sparkerson, and they asked, should we stick with Gordo, and would NASA have approved of divorce?
Nice. Also, I like the name Sparkerson.
Yeah,
that just made me really happy. Should Tracy stick with Gordo? Well, I think that everyone has their non-negotiable when they enter into any sort of relationship, and for Tracy, that was Gordo's infidelity. And so if you hit that non-negotiable in your relationship, and that's it, then you have every right to step away from that relationship. However, Tracy and Gordo are ride or die. They really do. They love each other tremendously. But that also doesn't necessarily mean that you should stay in a relationship. With that said, no, I don't think in our story and in that time, NASA would have been too pleased about their sort of astronaut couple divorcing for a plethora of reasons. But I think it's pretty obvious Tracy, she doesn't really care what NASA has to say. She doesn't always do too well with authority.
Like where we started off this season, because we jumped 7 or 8 years, like where we started off, I know you and I had a scene about divorce, and it was so looked down upon back in that era. And I think by the time, we get into like 70s and 80s, things shifted. Like I know my mom went through divorce when, in and things did shift a little, but there was always that terrible stigma that somebody would carry, especially when you had a job that, there were so few in the entire world that got to be astronauts. So,
right. Yeah. And
Sarah, who's the most fun person on set?
Who's the most fun? Oh, there's a lot of fun people, actually. There's a lot of fun people on set. I would say in the cast, oh, it's so hard. Lenny and Krys are always cracking me up, though. They're always making me laugh all the time. Michael's really funny too. He's fun to be around too. But I would say it's a tie between Lenny and Krys.
Krys just nominated herself with a me. That was what she wrote on there.
See? So there it is. There it is.
Do you have a favorite costume that you wear?
Yes, the flight suit. Yeah. I wish I could wear the flight suit in every scene I have, no matter what Tracy's doing. If she's going to a ball, if she's going to sleep, just put her in the flight suit, and I'm happy.
And see, what are those things that everybody wore, like the Snuggies that were like one piece, except it didn't zip up? It's like a fancy Snuggie. You could wear it in bed, and then you're just ready to go to work.
Except because it's a flight suit and it's a NASA flight suit, you look like a badass as well. It's like that little extra, you know.
Let's see. Who's the most focused on set?
Ooh. I'd say that'd have to be a tie between you and Wrenn.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I feel like Wrenn wins. She's the post.
Wrenn is, she's laser beam.
Yeah.
She is laser beam focus.
A lot more to learn like than I did. I remember one time we did an interview and Joel said like she could basically take us up in a spaceship. Because
pretty sure she could. I'm pretty sure she could take anyone to space at this point.
Yes.
I'd have to agree with Joel on that, yeah.
Okay, how did you adjust your performance as the timeline goes throughout the show?
Well, fortunately, we have an incredible crew that creates that world for us, the environment around us of the times changing. And obviously makeup, hair, wardrobe, all a part of that. I just sort of approached it as in, you know, how we go through life. So for me, I think Tracy, it was more about her journey. So, you know, who she is, how she relates to people is essentially the same. Her fashion might change. But I think what she had to sort of figure out and come to terms with was that finding that balance between being a career woman and a mother during a time where a lot of women didn't do that and necessarily have the support to do it.
Yeah.
So that, I think for me, that was how I approached it. And then I let the experts that surrounded us be experts at what they do.
Pitch in their ideas as we go through time.
Yes.
Exactly. Okay, here's a real life question I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you, let's say 10 seconds. And I want you to, in your house, grab something and, or you can tell a story that brings you joy.
Oh my God.
I want you to share something with me and everybody watching that brings you joy. And now I'm spoiling the question I'm gonna ask everybody. Because I feel like in this time, you know, for us to share things, whether it's a story or a memory or something in your room, that it's good to bring positivity at this time.
I would say what brings me joy is, currently, what brings me joy is in my bedroom right now.
Yeah.
She's furry. Her name's Jodi. I just adopted her a few weeks ago. She brings this household a lot of joy. So I'll go with Jodi.
Yeah, I love that. I love that in this time you took in a fur child.
Yes, I did.
It brings
another. Yes.
Love it. Well, I love you.
I love you.
Thank you for being on the For All Mankind Shantel show.
Thank you for having me, and to anyone to the people that came on, thank you for watching, and thank you for watching the show as well.
Okay, I love you.
Love you.
Bye, honey.
Bye.
Okay, let's see if I can do this now. Jodi, you're gonna be up. Get ready. Let's see. Jodi, add. Guys, I'm figuring out technology all by myself. Joe!
Whoa! That was so fast.
Was it?
Yeah. That was so fast.
I have to like end and go. I'm sure that's really interesting to watch me be like, like,
hi.
Like you're under the chin and it's like,
oh yeah. Just one of these.
Yeah. These.
Yeah. No,
you're
I'm
like
sitting way back for a very good reason.
Hi, honey.
Hi.
Okay. Are you so ready?
I mean, no, but I'm not going to be. So let's just dive right in.
Very beginning that we all in our text were like a little bit nervous about this.
Oh my God. So no, I have, my heart rate is definitely like at the rate it is when I'm doing jumping jacks.
Yeah.
So and I remember when I fibbed and remember when I fibbed and I said I would be drinking. I'm not doing that either. So it's just got nothing to numb my nerves. I'm just here with you all very raw.
That's the best of you.
Also, it's very funny to be like, the reason I feel like these things are so strange, even when you do them with other people, which is certainly brings a lot more relief than when I've done what I know you have too, when it's like just you and it's just too much. You're literally staring at yourself, having a one-way conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's always strange anytime like you see sometimes the things that say, oh yeah, I stare at myself in the mirror when I cry. I'm like, no.
Who does that?
Like cars, sometimes you'll see them like angle the mirror at themselves and they're just like singing and crying.
Okay. No, I mean, I need some direction for that content from you. I'm not receiving that kind of content, but I'm not mad at it either.
Amazing.
How are you doing?
I'm good today. It's some days, you know, we've talked about this and we can be honest, some days are tough. And then some days, you know, to even if I'm nervous, look forward to talking about a show that I love and seeing y'all, and brings me and makes me feel like I'm a little bit closer to work and the people that I care about. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I'm good. Same. It's so funny, even though there's obviously no like, well, that's not true. For many people who are still at work, there's most certainly the construct of week and weekend still exists. But for me, that's not the case right now. And yet somehow Mondays still sort of feel they have like a real Monday quality to them. So yeah, I don't know, today has been a strange one. I'm sort of fighting that urge to be productive again when there's really no need to be productive, you know?
Yep. We talk about that far too often. I let myself off the hook today to be productive because I knew I had this. And I was like, oh, good. This feels like I'm doing something for an hour today.
Truly.
That was okay, I get to ask you some questions.
Yes, let's answer some questions.
Let's see. I want to start off by asking, even though I know, but the world wants to know, what have you been doing to pass time in quarantine?
A little bit of lots of things. It's sort of changed from week to week, but I have been reading a lot, which I like to read at the best of times, but I think there's something really wonderful about the experience of having like endless hours to read. Just such a luxury. The sort of the time you're afforded when you're on vacation or something. So I've been doing a lot of that, like long multi-hour stretches of reading novels, which is one of my favorite things in the whole world. I have been walking tons because I have a little dog. I've been taking some classes on Masterclass. I guess shout out Masterclass. But it's been really wonderful to try and like learn some things and keep my brain active in that way. Today I made some at-home air-dried clay out of baking soda, cornstarch, and water. and I'm going to hand build some air dry clay later. I'm telling you, I'm clutching at straws at this point, but yeah, just trying to keep a nice balance of like a little bit of intellectual rigor with a lot of, I don't know, imagination, creativity, and just like whatever makes me happy.
Yeah, taking the day sometimes as it comes, and yeah.
Most definitely.
Okay, let's see. When we talk about the show.
Well, wait. I'm going to screw this up so many times, but you tell me your answer now. What have you been doing?
We're kind of interviewing
How
each
have you been spending your days lately?
For me, I've never been good at reading. I think that truly I'm kind of dyslexic. So it takes me a long time to get through books because I'll find myself like mixing up sentences and then I have to go back and reread. So it always takes me a while, and certain days it feels frustrating. Reading scripts, let's say for work with dialogue, aren't as difficult. But I've made it through 1.5 books, and I have such a fun age that we all have written each other about. So some reading. I've caught up on lots of television, of course. I've been taking piano lessons again because I'm mad at myself. Yeah, because
that's awesome.
I play as a child and then, thought it wasn't cool and quit. And now I'm frustrated that I did. So I've been taking lessons online and gardening and walking Nova, and yeah, same. Some days being creative, and some days, the best thing I did was cook an awesome dinner. Pat myself on.
Which ain't nothing.
Yeah. For somebody who didn't cook as much before, and now I'm like, I cook 90% of the meals.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So, questions. Let's see. There's so many. What was one of your favorite memories from filming the first season?
Oof, that's such a hard one because there's obviously like great memories from work, and then associated memories from, so here's my answer essentially in a nutshell. It's twofold. From actually working, I would say the time I spent to shoot the last 2 episodes, but predominantly the season finale of season 1 with Krys Bauer was just probably, I mean, it's a twofold thing too, in that like it's the most recent memory I have, but it was also extremely, extremely rewarding that time, not only working with Krys, but doing so much work that demanded proper physical rigor and the kind of physical performance. So not only were we like strapped up in wires at times and wearing the giant space suit, which weighs so much, and there's all those sort of restrictions, but also just physical performance to portray 0G, to all of that stuff. I just found so exciting, so stimulating. And then of course, like there were some wonderfully meaty scenes to shoot within those confines. So the coming out scene to him, all of our stuff around like trying to correct our course in the limb, all that stuff was really, really wonderful. And then I would say the other just like joyful thing was I have such fond memories of our press tour, our little mini press tour, all of us like on the road. It just felt like summer camp for adults, and I hold those memories really close.
Repacking our luggage next to trash cans.
Yeah.
It's like one of those that if we still, like back in the day, used to print out photos and put them on like a photo board, it would be one of those, like there was this highlight moment of, watching an episode at the Smithsonian. And then when we get done, we're all in our formal gear, taking our clothes off and like putting it into suitcases by trash bins before the airport.
Special. I think, so there's some photographic evidence of that, isn't there? There's some pretty, yeah. We got to find that stuff.
It kind of feels like, I'm guessing what it would feel like to be in a band, but we never got sick of each other. And we were kind of on, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Of like getting on the plane together and like having snacks, or
yeah. I mean, it was basically the most glamorous road trip that's ever happened. Yeah.
I felt special too.
Do you have a special memory from the first season? If it's not that, but something from work?
Yeah, I obviously had we each kind of had our time of really digging deep, and episode 8 was that. And I feel lucky because, like Krys was your counterpart throughout that, I had Sarah, and on set every day was Nicole, and I felt this huge pressure because it was her brother and her mother's story, and that felt like a lot, but I felt like I had like champions behind me and rooting me on throughout the scenes. And as much as there was I guess a lot of pressure and emotions that had to be had, and those things are always scary when there's big challenges like that, to come out on the other side and to feel pride in what you did for that day at that time, which may be different a day later, a week later, a year later, to be able to have given to that story. I feel really proud of and lucky to have had the challenge. And
yeah,
even tough, it's still like a good memory of being able to kind of make it through.
Totally. Yeah.
What's the most fun part for you about working in the 60s era series?
Oh gosh, superficially, the music, the clothes, the sets. Yeah, basically I feel like as actors, we're so lucky so often in that, like, we have the closest thing to time travel in our experiences of working in period pieces. It's like, I don't know if you feel this way, but I certainly do. Like, once I'm dressed, hair, makeup done, and I'm on those sets, like, it's extremely transporting. I don't know if that's a adjective, but I like, and especially when you're in a scene, you can sort of lose touch with reality in like the best way. And then obviously we don't work with the music that they use in the final cut of the show while we're shooting, but certainly like I listen to a ton of music as inspiration and sort of motivation for a lot of my preparatory work. And I just really enjoy all of that.
I have my own question to spout off because of that. But do you ever find that you'll kind of lose yourself for a minute, even after you shed the skin of the hair, the makeup, and have to like come back into like Jodi world? Is that ever a struggle for you when we're doing this?
Yeah, definitely. Always, but I remember very distinctly a specific part of acting class in the conservatory training I did for theatre predominantly, about stepping out. Like one of my most beloved acting teachers was very adamant about each of us designing and practicing a stepping out tradition, or ritual rather, that at the end of every performance that you do. That's this exact same thing. So that sort of in a cellular memory kind of way, and in a ritualistic way, you remind yourself, it's just my dog shaking herself off, you remind yourself that you are in fact who you are, not the character you're playing. So, but yeah, I definitely find that the deeper you go, I think the harder it is to just like immediately bounce back. But of course, the other great thing about working in the time period is that my real life looks very different to Ellen's life. So it's not hard. It's not easy to confuse the two in many ways.
Yeah. I want to ask you, what themes are you excited to tackle in season 2?
I mean, season 1 for me, for Ellen, was such a exploration. Not obviously she wasn't expecting this, but it was such an exploration of choice and sacrifice. And I think I'm really excited to continue to explore like how a person decides who they want to be, and what aspects of that makeup are more important than others, and what it looks like to sacrifice a part of yourself for something you love, or for your profession, for your ambition, for science. That stuff really fascinates me and moves me. I find it really compelling.
Yeah. Okay, wait, I have to ask you a question because I'm asking everybody.
Okay.
I would love for you to either show me something in your house, in the room you're in, or to share a memory during this quarantine time of something that's brought you joy.
Ooh. You know what's been bringing me joy? And you just reminded me of your piano lessons. I mean, I think I heard Sarah saying that Joni, her dog, has been bringing her joy, and I certainly relate like intensely to that. I'm so grateful for my pup right now. But the most surprising thing has been the time and the wherewithal to pick up my ukulele and play and sing again. I had forgotten how much I like to not only play it, but like sing. And I'm shy about it, but I have been doing that a lot, and it has been making me really happy.
You realize I'm going to expect a personal video now, right? Okay.
Well, I mean, maybe you and I should just start a band, is what I'm realizing.
Because we have, I mean, Michael, who plays Gordo on the show for everybody, he is an amazing performer as well and blew us all away.
Oh my God.
I mean,
yep.
He's amazing.
I'm quickly looking down because I want to ask you a couple questions before I go and let the next sucker on.
I don't like to make it about me. Thanks. Bye.
Well, I'm going to. You don't have a choice. You talked a little bit about the tour at the end of the season, working on the stuff with the loss of Shane, but do you want to talk at all about, like, as someone who, I hope this is okay, well, I'm sure everybody that follows you knows this already, you're not a mum. And what a crazy demanding thing to so beautifully and so truthfully portray as you did. What was it like to prepare for that performance?
You know, it's tough sometimes to step into roles when you feel like I don't have that skill, like I haven't gone through it. How can I be authentic? And
know all about that.
I often found myself going to Sarah and be like, would this be a mother instinct? Because I know some things do come with that. But I have some of it maternally because my siblings are all half in step, but they were born after I was already a little bit older. So I've always kind of felt like a cool, fun parent. But I think that within me, the desire to be a mother is something that is so authentic and true, and something I desire for my life. And, you know, I try to channel that, and I've had wonderful examples of mothers, my grandmother, my mom, and so many of my friends who have.
Yeah.
I try to rest on that, and again, not be too hard on myself, because I think that that's the truth, is that every mother feels like they're doing it wrong. That's a common theme across so many of my friends and women I speak to. They're like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. I feel like I'm failing. And that's what you feel like you're failing, you're probably doing it right. So I try not to be so hard on myself, but there's something really wonderful, because I've played a few roles of being a mother, and being able to bond with the kids and have improv it's so special. There's just something that comes out in scenes that isn't rehearsed or expected, and it keeps you on your toes. And I love.
Yeah. Well, you do it extraordinarily convincingly. So whatever you're doing, it's working.
Thanks.
What else is here? Well,
you get one more.
We've touched on so much of that. Basically, there was another fan question about talking about the camaraderie between the cast, but I feel like this is this is self-explanatory.
What we're doing is, because I feel as though, you know, so many people can say it like, oh, our cast is so close, and it's so wonderful, but I feel like we live it. You know, like there's so much within, you know, having ear piercing parties as soon as we can watch. Dancing, and just so much that we have, and I treasure even the simplest of memories, even just having dinners and our text chains. And I don't have that with any other cast. You know, you may check in on each other, but you girls are pretty special, and I really cherish that we have a friendship off screen.
Yeah,
hence why we're doing interviews.
Yeah. So you should bring the next culprit on. But before, I just wanted to say thank you so much, and love you lots, and see you soon. Enjoy Wrenn.
Thanks, honey. Love you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Okay. Now we're going to talk to Wrenn again. Hold on. Not again, because we haven't talked to her. I called her Wrenn again, like that was her nickname. Wait for it. Hi!
Hello.
Hair Club.
I know. When I saw your hair, I was like, well, we're just mirroring each other with our fabulous hair.
Oh, it's my sister sent me this like meme thing that was like, which quarantine hair are you? And mine was like Hermione from like one of the Harry Potters, just with like a giant mess of
Bro.
Oh.
Yeah.
How are you?
I feel like I'm good. I actually just made a mad dash. I was outside and made a mad dash inside because my little peanut came out with her dad. So I was like, I gotta run.
I love
Yeah,
that.
hi.
Hi, hon. Okay, so I get to ask you some questions. We talked with Sarah, we talked with Jodi, and I let Jodi ask me a couple questions and then rushed her off the phone. So somebody asked what elements of Margo's story that you can identify with them.
There are so many. I kind of don't know where to start. I feel like Margo is somebody who's both very close to me and also very far away from me. I feel like the hard work, I feel like that's definitely me. Although I would say like the divergency there is, I think Margo is such a genius that it's like she's a workaholic and she's a genius. And I feel like I can be a workaholic when I'm working. But I feel like when I like walk off set and feel like I've had a good day, it's so much of it's grunt work, you know. I don't think that like I'm like I don't know, like embodying the spirit of Margo or like, I don't know, suddenly having a moment of like, I don't know, magic. It just feels like it's the fruition of working really hard and just being like dogged about it. And from what Sarah was saying, you and I don't get to work together very often, but I feel like maybe you understand that tendency. And then I feel like the other thing that's coming to mind is that I always feel like I'm better when I've got an obstacle to overcome. Like always, I always feel like, you know, whether that's in life where I'm like working towards a goal or, you know, in the show, like as Margo working towards a goal, like that's really fun for me in life. And I think also for Margo, there's that whole idea of the pursuit of happiness. I actually feel like the pursuit is often like the most fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's like pursuing a big job or pursuing, like I remember when I was still early in my career. I say early in my career, but I was definitely like kind of old at that point. But I like the auditioning part was the most fun for me, like having a bunch of auditions and just constantly working on them. Like that was almost more fun than like sometimes than like the actual, like, I don't know, the actual getting into the job, because that's usually scary for me. It's like first day of school. So yeah, I feel like those two. Hold on one second. My headphones are dying. 1 second. I'm gonna swap.
That's fine, sweet.
Or I'll just take them out because she's outside now.
Even if we okay. Real life.
Yeah, totally real life. So yeah, I feel like it's those two things: working really hard, because it's just how I'm built, and then also the obstacle bit. It's not that I don't enjoy getting a job, though. I mean, that's really fulfilling too. But yeah, I don't think people know this, but when you work on a television show, you have like a really intense period of work, and then, you know, like you've kind of got to like find way. I mean, this might not be true for you or for some of the other actresses, but I have like this really intense period of work, and then when the show is over, you know, like there'll be like bits here and there where I've got like so much that it's too much to handle, but it makes me, I guess, appreciate more, like just being in the throes of having a bunch of auditions. Blah 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 blah. Next.
No, I totally agree. I mean, there's always different challenges. You know what I mean? When you have the job, there's a different set of challenges than when you don't. And sometimes it's the discovery of creating, a surface level character, just even for an audition that, isn't as developed as what you would shoot. But, being able to create that and see like, ooh, is this going to be the one that takes me on my next journey?
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Okay, so I know that you're incredible about doing research and you're so wonderful about it. Did you talk to any NASA employees to prepare for the role?
I did, but not as much as I would have liked, honestly. Jerry Griffin, who was one of the original flight controllers and who was flight, like the person that runs the missions, the flight director, he came and worked with us for a day, like everybody that was in mission control. And so we kind of had like a crash course.
Yeah.
That was the only person that was like with us that had been part of that era. And I felt like I learned a lot from him, which was really great. But I always secretly harbored a desire to have him come back. He was amazing to talk to. I mean, the level of knowledge that he has, as well as, I don't know, his sense of being able to kind of like communicate and translate for us like what it was like to be there in that room.
Yeah.
Like during those formative years that were so exciting. Yeah, I would have loved if he could have been around more. I feel like a lot of people have probably heard of Garrett Reisman, who is like the legit astronaut that we all get to talk to from time to time. But yeah, Jerry Griffin was who we got to talk to. And then we also have Denise and Mike Akuda, who are on set. But they're more of like, they're NASA nerds like I am. I'm like the tiniest fraction of a NASA nerd that they are.
That helps with everything in our analysis,
Yeah, totally.
I am a little bit, and it can't be because Karen isn't, you know what I mean?
Oh, what do you mean, like into NASA?
About this, like I'll just stuff that down. Like, I mean, I sat in on like a few of the meetings, and I shouldn't know and don't need to know any of that stuff for my character, but I was like, I want to be here.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So you got to work with, I'm gonna totally butcher his name, I'm sure. Is it Comfiore?
It's Colum Fiore. It's okay. Colum is fine. He's always like Colum. It's fine. Yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah.
He was a joy to work with. All right, here comes the little one. Just heads up, there might be like some screeching in the background. He was just, I feel like we just had the best time on set as actors. I felt like he was always ready to go. He was always very giving and responsive and spontaneous. And I don't know, it felt a little bit like getting to do like a mini play with him, especially episode 6, like a couple of days of just kind of like throwing those scenes against the wall over and over again and finding something new. Like, I feel like when you can find that with another actor, when you have like that chemistry and you've got good writing, it just feels like you could kind of endlessly explore those scenes. I don't know if you felt that way about episode 8. Say that again.
Were those the most challenging like scenes of the season for you?
No, actually they weren't. They were the most exciting because there was so much to do. I feel like the most challenging scenes for me, honestly, are the scenes that didn't make it into the show. And I feel like, Ron and Meryl and Ben and Matt probably know exactly why some of them didn't. But there was one in particular that I think it was my worst day on set. I was just like totally falling flat on my face over and over again. And I feel like when that happens, sometimes you're in like a kamikaze dive and it's so hard to pull yourself out of that. And it's just like this red hot flush of like, this is really terrible. And I remember just being in so much pain. That was like somebody take me out of my misery. But that scene didn't make it into the show. So yeah, I feel like those are, or you know what actually I feel like is also really difficult is scenes that are really short.
Yeah.
Or a scene where there's a lot going on and you've got like
one line, and you can't get the one line right, and you're like, nah, give me a 7 or 8 page scene and I'm fine, and give me a scene where I've got like nothing to do and I'll totally screw it up.
There's like, sometimes you'll have auditions for something, I know I do, and it's one line, and it'll be like, oh, but it's this huge movie, and you're like, I would rather you give me this really giant monologue to make my way through than a line that I'm going to overthink 500 ways to the sun.
Oh yeah, totally. And then I will stutter or I'll just like screw it up. It'll just be terrible. Yeah.
Okay, I want to finish by asking you what all the girls, which is I want to, in this time that we've all been quarantining, I want you to share a memory or something that brings you joy.
Oh, wait. So I had this outside before she woke up. And I'm going to go back outside.
I love it.
So I can't kind of see you now because of the reflection. Sorry. I'm
That's
making
okay.
me a little nauseous with my running around. So this is where I had originally planned to talk to you. So early on in this, I felt like some of us started like trading things, you know, like you and I have swapped books. Yours is coming in the mail, although not yet. And Krys lent me a table, and Jodi gave me some goodies. And I don't know, there was something about the giving of that, like I don't know, just that exchange that's been really magical. And also like on one of those trips over to exchange something with Jo, I was talking to her about this cookbook, and she had 2 copies, so she lent me one. And true to my nerd fashion, like these, I use them in my real life, also in but
yes,
like, these are all the recipes in here that I've made with my husband. And then these are all the ones that are on deck. And there's a couple of, this is so dorky, there's a couple of salads in here that I just think are like the most unbelievably delicious salads ever. And that's what I cook because I can chop things.
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
you have to share some with me. So you have to text them either to the group or to me, because I've never cooked before really a whole lot in my life until all of this happened. And now I find myself trying to search for recipes and things to make that are new.
Yeah,
but
I will send you some. I have some favorites. It's so good. And I also have a bunch of the spices for them. Sorry, guys, this is so boring. So I'll like send you the recipes. I'll send you the recipes, but then I'll also, I've got to bring your book to you. So I'll bring you some of the spices that you need that might be a little harder to get.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love little simple gifts that we can all share and do and keep us
connected. Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for doing this. You're so good at this.
Goodness, I don't know about that.
No, you're doing an amazing job. Yeah.
Well, for talking to me, is there anything you want to share with anybody about season 2?
I just have one word. Wigs. Wigs. Just get ready. Get ready, guys. Yeah, that's it.
Love you, and I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Okay, bye.
Okay, so now I'm going to bring Krys on. I'm not sure how it works, that if it shuts me off at exactly an hour, somebody might have to tell me. Krys, get ready for comedy hour. She's frickin' hilarious. Girl!
Wrenn, what's up, girl? How you doing?
Oh, you.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you come in. How you doing?
I thought of like 15 different ways that I should have started. Like, should I do Mr. Rogers, like take my shoes off? Should I do like Ellen? Then I was like, no, I'm just going to sit here.
Well, you look great. You look freaking great. Hi.
Hi, honey. I know. Okay, wait a second. Do you know with Instagram Live, does it shut me off at exactly 1 hour? Like, is it gonna?
Does.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in the middle of us talking, it ends. I'll start it back up, and then I'll select you again.
Okay, great.
According to Jodi, I have all the power, even though I. Okay, so I get to ask you some questions.
I also want to end this with the dance party that I was promised.
By the way, I said I look professional on top and on the bottom. I have on like ripped jean shorts like when I'm going to the beach. So
Exactly. I love it.
Fine. Okay, we'll end it with a little short dance party. But what have you been doing past your time in quarantine?
Eating, is that a way to pass the time?
Yes.
Eating snacks, eating meals, eating whatever is not nailed down. I've been doing a ton of eating, hence my very form-flattering, gigantic jumpsuit. What else have I been doing? I've been actually doing a lot of reading, which I'm really proud of.
Yeah?
Doing a lot of reading and, yeah, just trying not to go entirely insane and having my ebbs and flows of like, this is the best feeling ever, I have so much time, to then being like, this is the worst feeling ever, I hate everybody. So.
And guess what? We're always there for each other in our group text to chat about both, to either celebrate or to be like, I am here, cry it out. Today's
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so now I get to ask you questions about season 1. No spoilers from season 2, because I had to think about it. Like,
I am so bad at keeping secrets. I don't know why they trusted me to do this. This was dumb. This was dumb on their part.
I mean, what was your favorite episode or scene to film in season 1?
So my favorite scene is my scene I do with Edwin, who plays my husband, Clayton. And he and I are reuniting for the first time. He's been away at war, and it is just like that day, you know, don't tell my husband, but I'm just so in love with Edwin. He's just such a freaking sweetheart and has the most like just energetic and like reaffirming personality. And so I remember just like working with him, and, you know, I think that there are times in which I'm in the world of Danielle and I feel like she's just so much smarter than me, and she's a scientist and I'm an actress. But also, you know, I feel like there's so much of her story that I admire, but I don't personally totally understand. I have to sort of do the mental Olympics to get there. But when it comes to being in love, like I know that like the back of my hand. And so my time with Edwin really, for me as an actor, just like imbibed me with so much, I don't know, like confidence that I would sort of carry that along to the other performances that, of course, I loved, but, you know, it was difficult. So my work with him was some of my favorite scenes. And then my favorite episode, of course, is Hi Bob. I mean, my time with Michael and Joel was like, it was very much a microcosm of what the world that we were telling. You know, in our story, we were on the moon for 140 something days. And in real life, I was with those boys in a teeny little set for 12 days. So that was pretty wild, but a really, really beautiful experience.
I get to share a small, quick memory because I remember when you joined our very first table read for the episode that your character gets introduced, which isn't the scene, your very first scene with Clayton?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember we didn't get to meet before the table read, and I remember you and him read it, and like I was speechless. To be honest, I was like, who the fuck is this girl? She is so talented. Holy shit. You brought it to the table read. And it blew me away. And like your life and the energy that you brought and that he brought, it was so believable in that space. And we don't often get that just in table reads. Sometimes we're in the middle of shooting, or we don't get them till the night before. But it was like, oh, okay, Danielle has arrived. Like this was special. For as long as I will live, I will remember being like, wow, in a table read. Like yeah, it was really awesome.
I mean, I know that you're saying that we don't always do that, but you're not watching you like I'm watching you. I mean, there have been times that I'm beside you during the table read, and I can actually feel you trembling as you're like telling this story, and the pages in front of you are slick with sweat. And I'm like, wow, she's going through it.
had my apples and peanut butter for the day, you know? Okay, so what was the hardest part of your role for you?
Oh man, there was a lot of it that was difficult. You know, sort of like what Wrenn was saying about how it's easier when you do a big long scene with lots of pages because then you have all the responsibility. And some of my hardest work, I think, was in Hi Bob and having to stay alive in this space where there's so much going on. And, you know, it's, for me, it's like when I have the story to tell, I feel like I can carry this. I have my work cut out for me. But there was so much work that went on between Joel and Michael that I was physically present for, but verbally didn't say anything, you know, and so I had to just like be there, you know, like Wrenn was just saying about her work with Colm, where you love working with an amazing actor who gives you so much to work from. And so with those guys, I mean, there was times when they were literally throwing each other into the air and slamming down. And it was like, I would have to remind myself like, okay, Krys, you're just making a TV show. You're okay. Hang in there, because the space was just, it was like thick with this masculine energy, and the boys got a masculine smell going sometimes when they really get to work. And so you're just like, okay, I'm hanging in there. And so I think there's so many times when I probably wasn't even aware that the camera could see me. And like, I actually was just like frightened, you know, like, just staying alive in that very tense environment. Those are definitely tough days.
You with like I guess it's like zero gravity, but then sometimes when you're inside Jamestown, it's different. Like, what is it, 1/8 or what is it? The gravity, the
1/6. Yeah.
Okay. So was that challenging?
So I don't want to give away all the movie secrets, but yeah, some of that work that the guys and I did in that space was on wires, because we can't manufacture what it's like to, you know, weigh 1/6 of what we normally do. So some of it was taken care of with, you know, mechanics, but then a lot of it was just up to you to sort of bring that energy of what it's like to move and sort of bounce. So that was tough. And the tech advisors on our show are incredible and were great about reminding us and putting the bug in our ears. Like, don't forget when you move this, when you grab this, remember that this is lighter, you know? It's kind of like when you pick up a milk jug you think is going to be heavy and then you're like,
Yes.
It's sort of like that. Where you're like, whoa, my superpowers are acting up.
But along with all of the physical challenges, it's like, okay, now remember all that, but also remember your lines and be present and feel and go.
And 1960s and.
I know there's something that I envied from the very beginning about all of you girls getting to play astronauts. And then sometimes I would hear stories and I'd be like, oh, maybe I'm not cut out for that. That's why. It's fine. Have you ever wanted to be an astronaut? Would you ever?
I'm going to be really honest. No, I have not. No, I mean, I hate long car rides. Okay. Like, I would not be the kind of girl who's cut out to be in a tin box.
Yeah.
This small for months on end. Like, I think it's beautiful work. What astronauts do. I commend them, but I have too many emotional problems to be that tightly spaced in with nobody but my own thoughts. Like, no, I'm good.
Want food rationed.
I don't like to share. I don't like bunk beds. No.
Oh, the shower thing. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of challenges that they have. Okay, question. Should I end this right now before it ends? And I'm going to do it back on and then I'll ask you back on. Okay, I love you. I'll see you in a second. Okay, us girls are chatty Cathys. So we've gone a little bit longer, which is fine. And we get to answer a lot more of your questions this way. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Krys back on. Keep our chatting going. Okay.
We're back. Hi.
I've left. Okay, so somebody asked who the most fun person to be on set with is. And Sarah said you, so no pressure.
Every single person, maybe I'm just like a class clown, but I have fun every single day I'm on set. You and I would get together. Sometimes you're going through it and then you just like unload about what happened with the day and Karen. And I'm like, yes, honey, tell me everything. And then there are some days when I'm with Jodi and she's in the books and I'm in the books with her. I mean, like every single person it's like, you know, they're all my children. So it's hard to say like who I have the most fun with. I will say that it's no secret that I have this like crazy connection with Michael. It's probably one-sided, doesn't give a damn about me. But I just think he's so delicious and sweet and funny. And so he and Joel and I are very much like Three's Company. And we, you know, love and also bicker like an old married couple, an old married throuple. So we play cards and, you know, it's tough to say. Everyone's great.
I love the one video, I think you posted it, of the day that we all got to be there. It was a really long day, and we were filming inside Mocha, right? Some of us in the gallery, and I think almost everybody was there. And Michael started off with dancing, and then Lenny joined in. And it just got to be like, as the hours went on, it got sillier and sillier.
Delirious.
Yeah, and it was just one of those, I think it was like a 2-day ordeal where we were all there together.
I think it may have been longer than that. And there was like crane shots. I mean, it was gruesome. Yeah, that was long, but really fun. We had fun together.
Like Karen is her world is so secluded from everybody other than the odd time that her husband would come home, and she would but those days I treasure so much because I'll get like one-on-one time in the hair and makeup trailer or at lunch when we're switching sets, and you know, but to actually have a day where we were all working together and going to the crafty table and going to I love those days. Let's see. Somebody asked if you could visit any planet in our solar system, which one would you visit? I know you don't want to be an astronaut, but you can just visit it.
Yeah. So I don't have to take the long flight there. I just can snap my fingers and be there. I would choose Saturn because of those fabulous rings. Are you kidding me? It's the most fashionable of all the planets.
It's so true. That one, or for me, like Jupiter. I feel like they're the most beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Yeah. What was the coolest part for you about working on the show?
The coolest part? Oh, gosh. You know, our experience with our executive producers and our whole, like, sort of higher up team, it was my first experience of really feeling totally empowered in a job. You know, usually you have a nice time when you work, you enjoy the people you work with, but you don't feel like you're an equal and you can bring up the things that you don't like or talk about ideas that you have for the character. And I feel like so early on, Ron, Matt, Ben, Meryl made it so abundantly clear to us, like, we're all in this together. So if something comes up for you, please let me know. And so I think our story is incredible. I think our cast is amazing. But I think every day going to work, feeling like I can speak my piece and use my voice and stand up for myself and say, hey, I have an idea about this, and not be patted on the head. Okay, sweetheart, that's enough. But really be heard. It was like, it's like nothing else. And I hope to sort of take this feeling and this experience on with me for the rest of my career.
You will. You will.
Yeah,
you
I hope so.
Y'all are always cheerleading you, and you know, to see you in season 1 come in and they had carved out this space for Danielle, and you showed up in that space and made it even bigger than what I think they could have ever have imagined in their heads. And you know, I commend you for it. You're beyond talented, but the voice you have is so grounded and beautiful, and we're very lucky to have you on the show.
Thank you, honey. You know how I feel about you. Can't get enough.
Okay, so my final question I've been asking everybody is to share a memory or an object or something that has brought you or is bringing you joy during this time of quarantining.
This is like the cheesiest answer ever. But my thing is my wedding band. I like my husband, thankfully. I'm married to him. But that's a lot to say, because sometimes you're not married to somebody or you're related to them. You don't gotta like them, you just gotta be related to them. But I feel like in this experience, as challenging as it has been, it's also been really lovely. Like, we are finding less things to be distracted by and taking more time to cook together and go on long walks with the dogs. And I just think he's the bee's knees. And I also think that by having this sort of outside thing stripped away, we're not beefing about where do we eat tonight, or, you know, beefing about you came home late or whatever. It's like, it's just us, you know, it's just us and our house and our dogs. And so seeing how there's just so much craziness in the world, and people are sick and losing loved ones and afraid of losing loved ones, having that connection at home just makes me feel like truly like the luckiest person on the planet. So
yeah, I love
secrets out. I like my husband.
He shared with us the most, I mean, y'all's love story, and even in person, is incredibly beautiful and palpable. But then seeing this wedding video, just, yeah, I can't. It's like a movie in and of itself. So I think, well, is there anything you want to share with everybody about season 2 or season 1?
The only thing I want to share is about you. I know that Jodi took a little time to talk about you, but I want to talk about you some more. I think you're like amazing. I think you are so like just this walking like vessel of good energy. And you're just such a compassionate, empathic person. Whenever someone's experiencing something, you're just like, yes, I literally, my phone is off. I don't give a damn what I had going on. I'm with you, boo. And I'm like, I mean, that kind of like undivided attention and sort of just like closeness. You're so giving and so humble. And on top of that, like, you're really good looking, which is weird when people are very attractive and also cool. So you got the whole package going, but I just think that you're the best, and I'm grateful that we did this today, and I can't wait to see you some more.
Nervous as we all were, I love it. It makes me feel a little bit closer to work, and I know we're all excited and anxious to get back, and now I'm on the verge of tears, but thank you for being so kind in what you said. I love you very much, and I'm going to go before I start crying.
Bye!
Mwah. Okay, and finally, last but never least, I'm going to bring Sonya on. Wait for it. Maybe. Where in the world? There you are. Sonya. Waiting for Sonya. Is everybody enjoying this? This has been so much fun. I love all the girls on our show, and just each one great call. Hi, honey.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, look at you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm in my she shed. I'm in my happy place. I'm going to start with your last question. This is what's brought me joy.
Yeah?
It's my shed. Yes. Yes.
Of the walls.
Is it? I know. It's a little bit, it's slightly like being in, what's it called? An aquarium. But yeah, it's lovely.
I love that. What do you do in your she shed?
This is where I hide from my children. I have a 5 and a 7-year-old, and so you have to get quite elaborate to hide 5 and 7-year-olds. So you've been to my house. It's a little shed that we built a little platform for, and so it sits in its own bed of green, and the children have been instructed that they have to knock in order to come in, which is so alien to them. About knocking, but they do. They're fairly obedient, and we may make it through the whole interview without them. We may not. We'll see.
Look, if they make a guest appearance, it's very.
It's not be unusual. Yeah,
I think like every parent, and especially mother, is like, I can't poop without my children coming into the room. So it's amazing that you have instructed them and they listen.
They sometimes do. Let's not get carried away. From time to time, they obey me. Yeah.
So what have you been doing during your quarantine to pass time? Are you being a teacher?
I am. I'm hardcore homeschooling. Nothing but respect to people who choose to do this. I actually looked up online homeschooling at the beginning. I was like, all right, I should just see like what real people who do this. And I noticed that many people who homeschool have an enormous spiritual life and religious practice, and most of their timetables began with prayer. And I turned to Davey and I was like, dude, I am not fucking surprised. I'm sorry, I am not surprised, because I'm about to get on my knees and pray to Jesus for help.
You're like, just
it is no joke. I am about to start Bible school just to get all through homeschool. It's really intense.
I just
yeah.
teach Bible camp, so if you need me to come in and sub for a day,
I will take you up on it. I will. No, we're better now. We're better now. Now that we're in whatever it is, week 9 or something. I feel like we found rhythm and everyone knows what it is. And the hard part is actually persuading my 5-year-old, who has just started to read, but persuading Jakey that he can't do Billy's lesson plans because he can't read yet. That's the hardest part, because Jakey just is like, sure, I'll do journals. What's that? And you're like, would you just play with the Lego and let Billy write her journals? So that's homeschooling. That's what I've been doing, literally that until 2, and then I run away. My husband, very sweetly, as you know, did school this morning because Mother's Day was a little bit of a whatever. Mother's Day didn't happen quite in the way that it could have done, and so I got my Mother's Day today, and so I got to hike all morning, and that was divine, just glorious. I sent you all the video of me breathless at the time.
It's amazing. I'm so happy that we're able to hike again. I know, we can keep our distance, but there's something about being able to get outside and move and walk and be in nature that feels, for me, it feels really grounding.
Agreed.
I've just been gardening while we weren't able to hike. I every day I'm outside clipping things and gardening and weeding.
Nice. I envy you. It looks so peaceful. I've been dying to do that. I have no green thumb. I'm just going to make this about the children. My children and my plants for the moment. I'm just trying not to let them die. That's key at this point.
You're amazing. Okay, so let's talk about season 1 for a little bit. Somebody asked what the most challenging part of playing an astronaut was for you.
The most challenging part of playing an astronaut, was just the technical stuff, really. I'm going to give you the same answer to most of these questions, which is that damn suit. That suit is the stuff of nightmares. It really is. And I spent a considerable amount of time in that suit. I'm not sure how the hours log against the other girls or even the guys. I don't know. But to me, it felt like I spent all season in a suit. But the rest of it, I loved. I loved the astronaut stuff. I loved learning it. I loved getting immersed in the technical side of it. I love. It's rare to come across a job, I think, that is as physically demanding as it is intellectually rigorous. And it was so fun to find, to play something that asked that of both sides of you.
Yeah, from my small experiences I've had, normally if something was physically challenging or an action sequence or show, it didn't require me to show up with a ton of dialogue or acting ability, but I commend girls because I went into it being so envious that I was the one who was stuck on Earth and didn't get to be an astronaut. And then you came back with stories, each of you, of, the challenges it presented physically and mentally and emotionally. And it's, you guys have to show up in all aspects.
Yeah, it was a lot. But then you had to carry, death of a child storyline, which is no joke either.
Well, I didn't have to wear a spacesuit and do it, though. So the rainbow. What was your best episode or scene to film, or both?
I was thinking about this, listening to the others. There are so many. Weirdly, it's not even a scene. It's a little line that I just love and treasure in my trajectory as Molly, is when, having gone through all the training and all the selection and everything, and then walked down that corridor with Joel to get into the rocket, and then being strapped in, and then she has this tiny private moment where she looks out the window and she says, "I'm going to the moon." And that line, I get emotional just thinking about the first time I read it. I never didn't read that line and didn't have the same feeling of there is the heart of Molly, is this little girl who has looked out a window and said, I want to go to the moon. And then to get to say it in that moment of all this technical and all this engineering and all the huge amount of effort, human effort, not just hers, that has got her into this moment, strapped in and ready to go. And the terror of sitting on essentially a nuclear fission bomb before you're sent up to the moon. And that she looks out the window and says, I'm going to the moon. It just undid me, that line. It's still my favorite line in the show.
I love that. What episode? That was like
4, maybe 5. I don't know. I'm so bad at this. I don't even know what I'm in. Yeah.
There was so much that I didn't get to be present for, and I would see and hear at the table read, and then watching it all come to life. It was truly spectacular, and the sequence of them, taking these photos of you and Molly just not being about that, but just being about wanting to actually go and not all the other crap that it involves. Yeah. The facial expressions and it just is so endearing and wonderful, and it provides us with this truthful character that is a little bit of levity, in the middle of some moments that are a lot heavier.
Yeah, I love her for that. She's so irreverent. I mean, she takes it so profoundly seriously that she almost can't afford to let anyone see how seriously she takes it. So she's just wicked, Molly. I love her.
Was there a set that you like to work on the most?
Yes, mine and Wayne's apartment, which because you've spent as much time in it as I have, I feel like, it's so exquisite. It's like a little, I was going to say jewelry box, but it's not. It's like a cigar box. It's all wood and these earthy colors, and his paints are everywhere. And our claw-footed tub just has a tiny screen that divides it from the rest of the room. And there's the zodiac painted on the floor. And it's the eye for detail that crafted that room is so exquisite. It's just, I walk in and I feel like Molly the minute I'm in that room. I love it. I love it. And it's tight. It's a tight space. There's nowhere for me and Wayne to go. So the scenes, particularly ones we have in season 2 that are some intense ones, we're right on top of each other, which was so fun.
Do you feel like Molly would have liked and chosen that because everything for her is in a tight enclosed space, whether it's a suit or whether it's the module, or like everything is tight and enclosed?
No, I feel like Molly is so, I feel like that entire apartment is all him. All I feel like he's the one with any aesthetic or vision, or she's so practical and pragmatic. I mean, Molly's clothes don't really change from season 1 to season 2. They're sort of slightly to reflect the wardrobe, the time change, but not much. And she's just not really about exterior stuff. So no, I think the apartment reflects them, but not her necessarily.
It's funny. He wrote me when I posted about us girls talking. He's, excuse me, you realize I am one of the girls. Like,
so true. He so belongs. It's totally true. More than I.
Like, you are. You 100% are. He was always like part of the wives club, and I adore him, and the scenes that you guys had together are, they weren't as many in the first season, and I yearned to see more in the second season, as I know people had commented and said as well. Somebody asked, I know, but how much time did it take to make yourself look like you're in the time period of the show?
Not terribly long. I mean, my hair is, as you see, it's a mess. I would just walk in and we'd make it more of a mess. And then Molly wears no hair and makeup, so I would go in and get they would paint out, if my sleep was really bad, they'd paint out some of the bags, and sometimes they wouldn't. And I'd get some dirt on my face, and that was pretty much it. I mean, I'm in and out of that chair in season 1, maybe 20 minutes. On a good day, I get chapstick. On a good day. Yeah. So yeah, what you see is pretty much what you get with Molly. Season 2 takes a bit longer, but that's, yeah.
Somehow I think season 2 takes longer for everybody.
Yes.
We get more time together, so that's good.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's see. Somebody said, what was it like to portray a character so similar to real life historical figure?
Yeah, Jerry Cobb is who Molly Cobb was based on, and it was fun. I mean, even when you're playing a real person, you're still playing a fiction. So it's wonderful to have someone to base it on. It was wonderful to read about, you know, the 13 that nearly made it, in the 13 women that nearly made it into the space program, but then didn't. It's fun to feel like you're doing reverence to somebody's actual real life experience. I think episode 4 or maybe 5 was dedicated to Jerry Cobb, who passed away last year. So there's a feeling of honoring someone. So it's fun. It didn't feel crucial. It felt rather lovely to not feel like, oh, I must be meticulous about having my hair like hers, or an inflection or an accent or a tick or a mannerism. You know what I mean? It actually felt kind of freeing to think about somebody and then let them go and do your own thing.
Yeah. I agree. I think because we even have an alternate history, it's like, you know, some people will be sticklers. Like my dad is a huge history buff, and he's like, well, that didn't happen. I have to remind him, like, Dad, no, we're creating our
yeah, right.
You know, the writer's interpretation of, I think, the world that they wished they would have been able to live. Okay, the last question is, do you have a favorite memory with the cast?
With the cast, I have so few scenes in season 1 with the cast. I mean, I'm such a solo player in season 1. I have many fond memories in season 2, but I can't give any of them away. I don't really. I can't say that I do. I adore this cast, and I'd be lying and fabricating if I came up with a cast memory particularly. I have a great memory of hanging from a rope wearing the suit, and swinging from a styrofoam cliff face that was 40, 60 feet high, pretending to be scaling, you know, the surface of the moon, or rather a crevasse of the moon, in the hopes of discovering water, and feeling just like pissed off and over it and tired and sweating and hating everything. So in fact, the polar opposite of what you're asking. Looking down at this, what to all intents and purposes is a movie set, just the size and the scale of it, and an enormous camera on a crane, and the size of these lights, and it was late at night, and just looking down and thinking, wow, look what I get to do. I mean, look what I get to do. I'm not playing anybody's wife. I'm not in a pencil skirt or carrying a briefcase or a notepad. I'm not asking how the victim died. I am playing this first woman on the moon. This is like, it doesn't get any better than this. So that's one of my favorite memories of the show, is that. And it's only by virtue of what a loner Molly is that I don't have more cast memories.
I feel the same way. I have, you know, a very isolated world. It feels like we each kind of have our experiences, and then we would, you know, cross paths. I said during Krys's, like in the hair and makeup, but you know, we have our own personal, like, little love affairs here and there, but it just doesn't always happen with our characters. So
exactly, yeah.
Well, you told me what brought you joy, but is there anything else that you want to share with anybody about season 1, or, you know, a teaser but not spoiler for season 2?
I can't spoil it for season 2. My God. Season 2, I'm just excited for everyone to see that. I think it's such a fun follow-up to the first one, and we're all it's such an interesting tweak of, like, we're all the same and just on a bit, you know, and nobody changes in any great essential way. I'm really curious to see, you know, we've got 2 episodes. Are we allowed to say this? I'm guessing we've got 2 episodes of season 2. I'm really curious to see what this time has done to us when we all show up back at work. I'm really curious to see what we bring back into the finale, in terms of traces and qualities and thoughts.
I have gray hair. They won't have to paint in any others, you know.
I wrote to the entire team being like, take 40 minutes off my call time, guys. It's coming for free.
Growing my gray
Don't worry.
Totally. This is gratis now. All done. The lines too, I gotta say.
Yeah.
The lines are thanks to my kids.
Well, I adore you and I love you, and thank you for sharing your answers and your time, and I can't wait.
Thank you for hosting this. It was lovely. It was so nice to see your face and see everyone's beautiful face. It really was.
I love you and I miss you.
Me too. Bye. Hey.
Okay, so we are all done interviewing everybody. Lenny, I know, really wanted to join us, and we missed you and we loved you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and watching all these really special, talented women who each bring so much to their characters and to the show. And if you haven't already seen season 1, it's on Apple TV. It's called For All Mankind. That's the cast that we've been talking to today. And yeah, it's a really special show. So go and check it out. We will be finishing season 2 soon. And we can't wait to show it to you guys. I love you, Nicole. Thank you for watching. Thank you guys so much. Take care, stay safe, and we will talk again soon. Bye.